before we get to Secret Wars, we need to get to Avengers Doomsday. And we're getting there possibly a little bit earlier than that December 18th date.
Yeah.
Maybe. Just maybe. This comes to us from movieweb.com. They say, even in 2026, delivering one blockbuster after another in theaters, probably talking about Project Hail Mary, which is fantastic.
Oh, it's so good.
Almost no movie is garnering the same level of hype as Marvel Studios' Avengers Doomsday, making the MCU's first Avengers movie since 2019's Endgame. And this movie will feature the biggest cast of stars in any superhero movie in history, led by our boy Robert Downey Jr. in his return to the MCU as Dr. Doom. It also serves as the first half of a culmination of the entire multiverse saga, as Marvel will close out Phase 6 with Avengers Secret Wars 1 year after Doomsday's debut. Originally, as some of us know, the movie was lined up to be released in May this coming year, and Marvel changed things around, and Doomsday is now set to be released on December 18th during the holiday season. This will only be the second MCU movie released during December, as 2021's Spider-Man No Way Home, which grossed almost $2 billion. Well, it seems like that December 18th day might not be the date that Doomsday comes out. According to insider John Campea, Marvel Studios may consider moving the release date for Avengers Doomsday up by 1 week, which would change the date from December 18th to December 11th. This comes after a recent development in that month, as Sony Pictures moved the release date of the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson Jumanji sequel from December 11th to December 25th, maybe to give a little bit more breathing room after the superhero and Dune movie come out. Should this date change and become official, it will allow Doomsday to stand on its own as the only major blockbuster to debut in theaters that weekend. Currently, as it has famously been coined Doomsday, Doomsday shares the date of the 18th with Denis Villeneuve's Part 3 of Dune. So, and because of the change of Avengers Doomsday going from May to December 18th, unfortunately, Dune 3 has all the IMAX screens locked up. So if I'm going to say Dr. Doom, if Avengers Doomsday moves back a week, this gives them at least 1 week of IMAX screens and also a whole week of making that money before Dune 3 comes out. I want to ask you, and I also want to put my banner and picture up. Megan, what do you think about the possibility? One, we were going to get Doomsday for the nerds, but maybe taking a week back, getting some IMAX screens and coming out. Do you think it makes a difference? Do you think that Doomsday could have been that Barbieheimer that the theaters were wanting, or do you think that this is probably the right move?
It's interesting. I was just talking about this with somebody recently. I'm very fascinated by the fact that, like, any other time Marvel would not have moved. I think that it is very, I think the story to me that is really fascinating is that Marvel and Disney are thinking of moving at all from Dune, that like they're sort of a fear of Dune, which if this were 5 years ago, we would not have that. Like that to me, I think is the more telling piece of this whole idea and story, like news story that we're not really talking about, is that like, oh, that you're getting Marvel to like take a knee is
like losing chicken. Like they never lose chicken. They're always the bigger,
like they're playing a game of chicken, and Dune is winning that game.
Dune.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that to me is like I said, is a bit more telling in terms of also how much money
Yeah.
that's gonna make. Um,
Mhm.
and it I think that, like, honestly, I think that they should have just opened at the same time. I don't think that it's gonna, like, make a world of difference if they change, because frankly, the other side of it is that I uh, I think people will likely go and see Dune in IMAX anyway. I don't know that, like, the people who are going to see Avengers Doomsday are necessarily interested in the IMAX of it or not. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, I didn't
I
think so. For
I need
Dune, it makes sense,
for Dune,
you know?
into it. I understand why this is
Right.
being put in an IMAX
Right.
screen, and, like, I am here for this, and, like, that makes a lot of sense to me. I don't think that you're gonna lose out on anything by, like, not having them in the like, not having it in IMAX. Like, I think that
Mhm.
I sometimes also think that, like, there is a narrative that we can get very stuck in terms of, who are these movies for? And if you're in LA, you get very stuck in the narrative that these movies are for people who go to see IMAX. And
Right.
that more and more is too expensive. It is too expensive to go and see an IMAX movie. I'm going to
My whole
choose.
rent.
Yeah, I'm gonna choose between which IMAX movie I'm gonna see. And so I'm gonna choose the one that it is fit for, like, that is made for an IMAX screen versus, like,
Right.
from my understanding, and I could be totally wrong on Avengers Doomsday. They might have a lot of things in mind that are better for IMAX. I just don't know. But as a moviegoer, I would have preferential treatment towards Dune anyway, because I only have a certain amount of money that I can spend on an IMAX movie that month in the first place. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I was really struck by, like, all of that sort of coming out, and the news of it, and the fact that they're playing chicken, and sort of conceding. Um, and I think that, like, if I were to talk to Marvel, I would say, I don't think you need to worry about it, because I don't think that, like, I think that I have more faith in your audience than you have in your audience. Like, I
Yeah,
think that, like, they are gonna show up if it's a good movie. And it the more important thing right now, I would say, is getting younger audiences to come and see your movie again. Um,
definitely.
and younger audiences don't have the money to go see IMAX. So, uh, yeah, I think that's where I kind of stand on that. I'm like, this is gonna be for younger audiences maybe, and, like, maybe it isn't. Maybe it is for older folks and older audiences, and that's what they're trying to get with the IMAX. But once again, I just don't. If you only have enough money for one IMAX movie, you're seeing Dune, even if it were at a different day, like, even if it were a week earlier.
Right, because that's the movie you see in IMAX
It's
is
made
Dune,
for it.
right? Yeah, it's made for it.
Yeah,
Th
yeah.
Like, did Avengers Doomsday even use IMAX cameras?
That's what I mean. Like,
You know?
maybe they did. Like, I don't know,
Yeah,
but all of the, like, all of the information that I have been given as a consumer has not led me to believe that this is a movie for IMAX. So I am particularly not worried about the IMAX of it all for this movie.
no, I totally agree, and I think you're right, it does give a good picture of where Marvel is at today. I mean, with Thunderbolts, they didn't even top 400 million, which is extremely low for them, not for
Yeah.
other movies obviously,
No, exactly.
but but for Fantastic Fours a little bit over 500. Like,
Yeah.
these are low numbers for Marvel
Yeah.
and for the amount of money that they put into these movies.
Yeah.
So they're trying to be as safe as possible and make sure that they can maximize Doomsday
Yep.
as much as they can.
Yep.
Is 1 week back gonna make that big of a difference? I think that is the biggest question. I think
Yeah.
opening weekend can be great for most movies, but
Sure.
for a movie to be successful, they need to have legs, and
Yeah.
these legs are meant for walking. No, these legs are going to be walking alongside Dune 3, Jumanji, other big movies that, with Jumanji for sure, hit more quadrants recently than Marvel has been. But
Yeah.
I do think there is more quadrants for Doomsday than there is for Dune.
But I definitely think it is an interesting sort of conversation to have, absolutely, at the moment, because I think because these movies end up spending so much money that the reason why they aim for 4 quadrant is because they need everyone to go see these
They
movies.
have to.
So much money on them. And like, one, spend less money on these movies, but two, what we have, I think we're in a really interesting time. This is not, I didn't intend for this to be a marketing conversation, but it kind of is.
Ooh,
we're in a really interesting time for audience that, like, actually the more broad you go, the less audience you're going to actually interact with. My favorite example of this is K-pop Demon Hunter. K-pop Demon Hunters is so specific and targeted, and no one golden, and it's so good. We all love it. It's so good, and it didn't have it was not made with the mentality of being broad. It was made for a specific audience, and it was good, and therefore we all engaged with it. And I think the more specific you can be with your audience and with your story, then you will get the like widespread investment that you are looking for. But because we are in a time where everybody needs sort of initial immediate investment, which is why, you know, they would even consider the fact that 1 week ahead of time would give them the money that they need. I don't believe that is true. But what everyone is in entertainment really, and this is all swaths, this isn't just features, everybody is looking for that immediate influx of cash. They just all want that one immediate money maker.
I am. No,
listen, I would love that. But in terms of art and longevity of storytelling, you have to have something over the course of time be really impactful and meaningful. 100%. And you can't just be like, all right, we got to get everything in on like this 1 week. Like, I think Thunderbolts is a really good example of a movie that like will have more cultural impact than people give.
I love that movie. My wife and I love that movie.
It's great. And like that will be what kids in 20 years are buying merch of. Do you know what I mean? Like it will be the thing that ultimately over the course of time stands the test of time. But it is a quote unquote failure because it doesn't make that initial money, because that's all that anyone is really in the mentality of thinking about right now. And I think that if we want to continue to have these things that are so important to us and to continue to cultivate these audiences, you have to be specific, and you have to give allow something to live for a longer period of time.
That's a good point. Yeah, man, that part when she was like, "Daddy, I'm so alone," I was like, "Oh my God, I'm crying." Like, this is so beautiful. And Florence Pugh is another fantastic actress. I absolutely love her.
100%.
I didn't really get to ask you about the movie in general at all. Now that, you know, with those, did you see them? The teaser trailers where it's like Cap is coming back. They showed James Marsden's, you know, Cyclops shooting the beam, and as we know, RDJ is Dr. Doom. Are you excited for this film?
I'm a little overwhelmed by it.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh. I think I'm a little overwhelmed by it. Like it's so much.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like it is so referential.
Like they're trying to just throw everything at the ceiling or at the wall and see if it sticks. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of reference points. And I mean, my audience, I'm always constantly thinking about like younger audiences, because like I sort of write and aim for the younger audience. And I'm very struck by like how we're in a time where references are the thing that are put in, like it's so you have to have references and everything. Is one of the reasons why I actually find the like Superman and Supergirl movies like I'm really excited about, because like there are a lack of references, which means that they are accessible to people. Like it means that they are accessible to a larger audience. Whereas with like Avengers Doomsday, I don't even know if that is accessible to me, a person who loves this stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like,
wow, that's scary.
It is. Like, I think that and look, I'm gonna be there, and I'm so excited to like be wrong, but I think that like the vast amount of references, it certainly will not get you a younger audience that will come in, because those references are not for them, and it's almost very clearly like a shutdown of like, you're not actually invited to this party because you didn't go to the same high school that I went to like 5 years ago. And so I like it the amount of references are sort of overwhelming to me because I'm like, I don't know that I'm gonna like, I don't even know that I'm invited to this party anymore.
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, in my opinion, I'm very excited. I'm very weary.
Yeah.
I'm very anxious because I just want to know.
I think that's just
But I
being
just,
alive in 2026, Evan. I think that
yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that is a good point. But you know, I just, with the Russo brothers and their
Mhm.
track record
Mhm. Yeah.
at Marvel, it's just been excellent. When it comes to the writer, was it McFeely? I think is the writer.
Okay.
Um, Him and his writing partner did Endgame, Infinity
Mhm.
War, Civil War, and Winter Soldier, which are
Mhm.
like arguably the best
Yeah.
of the MCU. And so I'm like, okay, like all the pieces are there.
I
So
want the pieces. I want
yeah,
them.
I want those
Yeah.
pieces, and we know how they worked in the past,
Mhm.
but it is a lot, and it's a fine line that you need to hit just right, or it could not work. It's on the edge of either being the best thing you've ever seen or just didn't work. It was too
Yeah.
much. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's a scary place to be in for them,
Mhm.
which, to bring it back, makes sense why they're trying to play it safe and possibly bring it back a week. It doesn't mean they for sure are,
Yeah.
but I can see now why they would do
100%.
that.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of fear,
yeah,
I think, around this movie, which is a shame. Like, that is never how you want to put something out into the world, really.
yeah,
Like, I think you're always gonna have a level of fear, but you never wanna,
yeah.
like, make business
Operate
decisions out of
from,
fear.
yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Well, let us know what you guys think. Do you think it makes sense for Avengers Doomsday to go back a week, get that IMAX, get that week head start over Dune 3 and Jumanji? Or do you think Doomsday might be just as beneficial
Yeah.
to have an epic event moment again in the theaters, a la Barbenheimer?
Yeah.
Drop a comment below and let us know your guys' thoughts.